Hey guys, today I'm going to tell you something that will shock all of you. What happens when a police officer, the one who should protect, abuses his power against the most vulnerable? In Los Angeles, I witnessed with my own eyes a scene that completely changed my perspective on authority. A police officer forging evidence, planting drugs among the few possessions of an innocent homeless person, just to force him to leave a public square. The desperation in that man's eyes. The injustice being committed openly. No one to defend him. No one to help. Until I decided to intervene and face an entire system. And what happened next? The story took a turn that no one imagined. Stay until the end to discover how this extreme situation resulted in one of the highest honors a citizen can receive in the United States. Before continuing this incredible story, I want to invite you to get your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich, 7 Steps to Financial Abundance. A complete guide that is transforming lives, developing minds, and providing spiritual and financial evolution for thousands of people. Access the first pinned comment or the description of this video to secure your copy. And if you're not yet subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Click the subscribe button right now and activate the bell to not miss any of our stories of transformation and justice. For those who are just arriving at the channel, I need to introduce myself. I am Mr. Millionaire, a businessman who dedicates his life to testing the limits of society and helping those who truly deserve it. After earning my first million, I realized that true wealth wasn't in my bank account, but in the opportunities I could create for others. I became a kind of financial vigilante, testing the character of people when they least expect it, especially those in positions of power or privilege. As I always say, true wealth is who you are when nobody is watching. This phrase guides me in every social test I conduct, in every life I try to positively impact. Now, let's get to the story I promised to tell. It was a hot afternoon in Los Angeles. I was walking near a square in the center of the city, dressed in simple clothes without the expensive outfits I'm accustomed to. I like to blend in, observe people without them knowing who I really am. It was at that moment that I spotted a scene that left me in a state of shock. A police officer approached a homeless man who was sitting on a bench. The man seemed harmless, just resting with his few possessions beside him. At first, I thought it would just be a routine approach, perhaps to ask him to move. But what I saw next made me stop instantly. When the homeless man stood up to speak with the officer took the opportunity to discreetly place a small package inside the man's torn backpack. My heart raced. I immediately recognized what was happening. The officer was planting evidence. I slowly approached, pretending to just be passing by. I took out my cell phone and began to discreetly record the entire scene. The officer began to interrogate the man, asking if he had drugs. The homeless man vehemently denied it. That's when the officer, with a malicious smile, asked to search his belongings. Desperation took over that man's face when the officer found the package that he himself had planted moments before. The homeless man, incredulous, began to protest. "This isn't mine. I've never seen this in my life." I couldn't contain myself any longer. I stepped forward and introduced myself, revealing that I had recorded the entire scene. The officer turned pale, tried to take my phone, but I had already sent the video to the cloud. That moment changed everything. If you're enjoying this story, don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. Share with your friends, because together we can make a difference against injustices like this. And don't forget to get your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich, in the description of this video. Knowledge is the greatest weapon against oppression. What happened next was a real battle. The officer tried to intimidate me, saying I was interfering in a police operation. But I knew my rights. I showed my identity and said I would file a formal complaint against him. I called more people to witness, ensuring that this abuse would not go unpunished. The homeless man, who introduced himself as Thomas, was trembling. He told me he had been living in that square for 3 months after losing his job as a mechanic due to the pandemic. He kept the place clean, never caused problems, but some merchants in the area wanted him to leave so as not to affect the image of the neighborhood. I took Thomas to a nearby hotel, paid for a week's stay, and promised to help him. But first, we had to resolve the situation with the police officer. The next day, we went to the police station and filed a formal complaint. I showed the video I had made, witnesses were heard, but I realized that the case could easily be shelved. That's when I decided to escalate the case. I hired the best lawyers and took the case directly to the Department of Justice. The video went viral on social media, generating a wave of public outrage. The pressure was so great that the authorities could not ignore it. An internal investigation was opened, and it was discovered that this wasn't the first time that officer had acted this way. Other homeless people had been his victims, some even unjustly imprisoned. While the process was ongoing, I didn't forget about Thomas. I discovered that he was indeed an excellent mechanic. I invested in a small shop and made him the manager. Today, 2 years later, the shop employs 3 other former homeless people and is thriving. I can't forget to remind you to get your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich, 7 Steps to Financial Abundance. There, you'll find strategies that changed my life and can change yours too. The link is in the description or in the first comment of this video. The process against the officer culminated in his dismissal and conviction for falsifying evidence and abuse of authority. But the most surprising came afterward. The city of Los Angeles decided to honor me with the Citizenship Medal, the highest civil decoration of the city, for exposing corruption and defending the rights of the most vulnerable. On the day of the award ceremony, I made sure that Thomas was by my side. When I went up on stage to receive the medal, I saw tears in the eyes of many present. I took that moment to leave a clear message. I'm not here because I'm rich. I'm here because I decided to use my resources to make a difference. Any one of you can do the same. True wealth is who you are when nobody is watching. Those words echoed through the room. The mayor, visibly moved, announced a new assistance program for the city's homeless, inspired by our story. A program that would not only offer shelter, but also real opportunities for reintegration into society. Thomas, now well-dressed and confident, was invited to speak. He told his journey, from successful mechanic to homeless person, and how a simple act of justice completely changed his destiny. His testimony drew standing applause. I don't want you to see this story as an isolated heroic act. It's a reminder of what we can do when we refuse to remain silent in the face of injustice. The system doesn't always work as it should, but when people decide to act, real changes happen. If this content is inspiring you, hit that subscribe button and activate the bell. I'm always bringing real stories of transformation and social justice. Your support is fundamental for us to continue exposing these realities and inspiring changes. After this incident, I began to expand my social tests to other areas. I started investigating establishments that discriminated against people based on their appearance, companies that exploited their employees, and even charities that diverted donations. Always with the same method: observe, document, and intervene when necessary. My team grew. Today, we are a group of 10 people, all committed to the same mission. We use disguises, hidden cameras, and our financial influence to expose injustices and help those who truly deserve it. The case of the Los Angeles police officer was just the beginning. After that, we have already exposed more than 50 cases of corruption, discrimination, and abuse of power. Each case resulted in concrete changes, whether in the form of dismissals, lawsuits, or new public policies. Thomas is now part of the team. His experience as a homeless person brought a unique perspective to our work. He managed to buy his own house and is studying law at night. His goal: to become a lawyer to defend people in vulnerable situations. Don't forget to get your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich, 7 Steps to Financial Abundance. There, I share not only financial strategies but also ethical principles that guide my businesses and actions. Access the link in the description or in the pinned comment. The story of the officer planting evidence also had broader repercussions. The case inspired a complete review of the Los Angeles Police's approach protocols to homeless people. Body cameras were installed on all officers, and an independent committee was created to investigate complaints of abuse. The video I recorded that day was used in police academies as an example of what not to do, a symbol of how power can corrupt and how citizen vigilance is essential in a healthy democracy. Some criticize me, saying that I'm taking advantage of others' misery to promote myself. To these, I respond with results. Each person we help, each corrupt person we expose, each system we force to change. I don't seek applause, I seek real transformation. Others question why, being so rich, I don't simply donate money to social causes. I always answer, donating money is easy. Facing the causes of inequality is the real challenge. I prefer to invest in systemic changes rather than temporary charity. The medal I received is not in a showcase in my home. I gave it to Thomas to keep, as a symbol that the honor doesn't belong to me, but to all those who struggle daily to survive in a system that is often unfair. 6 months after the incident, the ex-officer tried to contact me. Initially, I was reluctant, but I decided to hear what he had to say. The man was remorseful, had gone through a process of deep reflection about his actions. I offered him a chance at redemption, to work as security in one of the shelters I finance under Thomas's supervision. He accepted. This is the transformation I seek, not just to punish the wrongdoers, but to offer paths to redemption. I believe that everyone deserves a second chance, as long as they are genuinely willing to change. The work continues. I receive dozens of messages daily from people reporting similar abuses. We can't attend to all of them, but each case we solve is a victory against a system that frequently favors the powerful at the expense of the vulnerable. If you've made it this far, don't forget to give your like and subscribe to the channel. Share this story so that more people know that it's possible to make a difference. And if you want to delve deeper into the principles that guide my actions, get your copy of the ebook in the description of this video. To conclude, I want to leave a reflection. Many ask me why I do this, why I take risks, why I don't simply enjoy my wealth in peace. The answer is simple. Because I can. Because I have the resources, the influence, and the courage necessary to face injustices that many cannot combat alone. I don't consider myself a hero. I am just someone who understood that privilege brings responsibility, who learned that life is not measured by what you accumulate, but by the positive impact you cause. And, as I always say at the end of each social test, of each intervention, of each act of justice, true wealth is who you are when nobody is watching. That's what defines your character, your humanity, your real value. This was another episode of Mr. Millionaire. See you in the next video with more stories of justice, transformation, and hope. Until then, remember, be the change you want to see in the world. If each one does their part, no matter how small it may seem, we can build a more just society for all. But the story doesn't end here. After the video of my intervention went viral, other similar reports began to emerge in different American cities. People who had been victims of the same type of abuse by authorities, but who didn't have the resources or courage to report it. I then decided to expand my field of action. I created a specific foundation to protect the rights of people in vulnerable situations, especially homeless people. The Visible Justice Foundation today has offices in 5 American cities and has already helped more than 1,000 people obtain justice in similar cases. What began as an isolated incident transformed into a national movement. Investigative journalists began to seek similar cases, lawyers began to offer pro bono services to victims of police abuse, and politicians found themselves pressured to promote reforms in the public security system. Thomas's story inspired a documentary series produced by a major studio, exposing how practices of criminalizing poverty are common in large American cities. The documentary received international awards and brought the debate to an even larger audience. Remember to secure your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich: 7 Steps to Financial Abundance. This exclusive material contains principles that I apply in my journey and that can transform your financial and spiritual mindset. The link is in the first pinned comment and in the description of this video. The American judicial system, frequently criticized for its slowness, was positively surprising in this case. In record time, the officer was prosecuted and convicted. But this didn't happen just because of the strength of the evidence. It was the public pressure, the visibility of the case that ensured that justice was done. This is a crucial point that I always emphasize. Evidence is fundamental, but visibility is what guarantees action. That's why I make a point of documenting and publicizing each case I investigate. Public exposure is often the only resource that marginalized people have against a system that tends to ignore them. After the officer's trial, I was approached by a group of Los Angeles police officers. Initially apprehensive, I accepted the meeting. To my surprise, they weren't there to confront me, but to thank me. According to them, my action had exposed a rotten element that tarnished the reputation of all good officers. This meeting made me reflect on an important principle. Our work is not against institutions, but against corrupt individuals within them. The vast majority of police officers, sellers, business people, politicians are honest people trying to do their job in the best way possible. Our focus is on the few who abuse their power and position. The most significant impact, however, was on Thomas's life. From a homeless person about to be unjustly arrested, he transformed into a symbol of resistance and hope. His personal story, the loss of his job, the months living on the street, the abuse suffered, and his subsequent recovery became a powerful example of how a person's destiny can change when they receive the right opportunity. The mechanical shop we opened together has expanded. Thomas demonstrated a special talent not only for fixing cars, but also for managing people. Today, the business exclusively employs people in vulnerable situations, offering not just a salary, but professional training and support for rebuilding their lives. One of the most beautiful initiatives that emerged from the shop was a learning program for at-risk youth. Thomas developed a curriculum that combines technical skills in mechanics with personal development and financial education. The young people leave the program not only knowing how to fix cars, but also how to manage their finances and build a stable future. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, now is the time. Click now on the subscribe button and activate the bell to receive notifications about new videos like this. Your support is essential for us to continue exposing these realities and provoking real changes in society. The case gained even more notoriety when we discovered that that square in Los Angeles was being targeted for real estate speculation. A large business group had plans to develop a luxury commercial complex on the site, and the presence of homeless people was seen as an obstacle to be removed. A deeper investigation revealed connections between this business group and certain departments of the local police. There was a veiled pressure for officers to clean the area, using whatever means necessary. The officer I caught wasn't acting just on his own. He was part of a much larger scheme. Exposing these connections was even more impactful than the original case. A municipal investigation committee was established to investigate the relationship between the police and real estate interests. Several high-ranking officers were removed, and the commercial complex project was temporarily suspended for reassessment of its social impact. This is the type of systemic change I seek to provoke with my work, not just to help individuals on a case-by-case basis, but to expose and dismantle entire structures of corruption and exploitation. As I often say, it's not enough to give a fish or teach how to fish if the river is contaminated by those who hold power. The story had yet another surprising development. A month after the awards ceremony, I received a call from the White House. The President of the United States himself wanted to meet me to discuss national policies to combat homelessness and police corruption. In the meeting, I presented not just Thomas's case, but dozens of others that we had documented over the years. I emphasized that the problem was not isolated or restricted to Los Angeles. It was systemic and national. I also presented a set of concrete proposals developed by our team in partnership with public policy experts. The result was the creation of a federal task force dedicated specifically to investigating cases of police abuse against vulnerable populations. More importantly, a national program was launched to incentivize the social reintegration of homeless people, directly inspired by the model we developed with Thomas and his shop. To ensure that you don't miss any of the next inspiring stories and impactful revelations, remember to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications. And don't forget to access your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich. The link is available in the description and in the first pinned comment of this video. Thomas, in turn, was invited to testify in the American Congress about his experience. His emotional and articulate testimony made a deep impression on the present legislators. He spoke not just about the abuse he suffered, but about how the system as a whole fails people in vulnerable situations. "Society treats us as if we were invisible," he said during his testimony, "until the moment we become inconvenient. Then, suddenly, we become a problem to be solved, not people to be helped." His speech inspired the creation of new legislation, informally called the Thomas Law, which establishes specific protections for homeless people and severe penalties for authorities who violate their rights. The officer I caught planting drugs served his sentence, 1 year in prison and 3 of probation. As I mentioned before, after demonstrating genuine remorse, I offered him a position in our organization. Today, he works in security at one of the shelters we maintain, but he has also become a spokesperson, talking to other officers about the dangers of abuse of power. This is a fundamental part of my philosophy. I believe in redemption. I believe that people can change, can learn from their mistakes and transform themselves. Punishment is necessary, but reintegration is essential. The Medal of Honor I received from the City of Los Angeles is now on permanent display at the Civil Rights Museum. Not as a celebration of myself, but as a symbol of a moment when an ordinary citizen decided not to remain silent in the face of injustice. A reminder that each of us has the power and responsibility to act. Here on the channel, I will continue to share stories like this. Stories of social tests that reveal both the worst and the best of human nature. Stories that inspire, provoke reflection, and, above all, motivate action. If this story touched your heart, please share this video. The more people know these realities, the greater our capacity to provoke significant changes in society. And don't forget to secure your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich, 7 Steps to Financial Abundance, a powerful tool for your own personal and financial transformation. Recently, I returned to that square in Los Angeles. The transformation is remarkable. What was once a stigmatized place is now a vibrant space of community coexistence. A giant mural tells the story of Thomas and the fight against injustice. Instead of expelling homeless people, the city invested in social services and support structures in the location itself. There's a small welcome center in an adjacent building, where people can shower, wash their clothes, and receive guidance on available services. Volunteers offer daily meals, and once a week, lawyers provide free legal assistance. All of this was born from the case we exposed. Thomas frequently visits the place to inspire others who are in the situation he was in. His living testimony is more powerful than any motivational speech or video. When people see someone who came out of the same circumstances they find themselves in, hope becomes tangible, possible. Our foundation has already expanded its work to 12 American cities, and we are beginning international operations. The model is always the same. Document abuses, give visibility to cases, demand accountability from the guilty, and create real opportunities for victims. The story I shared today is not just about exposing a corrupt officer or helping a homeless person. It's about how small actions can trigger profound changes when performed with courage and persistence. It's about how privileges, be they financial, social, or of any nature, bring with them the responsibility to help those who don't have them. And before ending this video, I need to reinforce the invitation for you to get your copy of the ebook, The Secret of the Rich: 7 Steps to Financial Abundance. In it, I share principles that guided me in my own journey of personal and financial transformation. Principles that can help you not only prosper materially, but also find true purpose and meaning. The link is in the description and in the first pinned comment. My mission as Mr. Millionaire is not just to expose injustices or help people on a case-by-case basis. It's to provoke a profound change in the way society treats its most vulnerable members. It's to challenge the structures of power that perpetuate inequalities. It's to show that true wealth is not measured by zeros in the bank account, but by the positive impact we cause in the world. As I always say at the end of each video, true wealth is who you are when nobody is watching. This is the essence of what I do and what I believe. And I invite you to reflect. Who are you when nobody is looking? How do you treat those who can do nothing for you? How do you use the resources and privileges you possess? If this video inspired you, don't keep this inspiration to yourself. Transform it into action. It can be something small, helping a homeless person in your neighborhood, reporting an injustice you witnessed, volunteering a few hours in a social organization. The important thing is to take the first step. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, activate the bell, and share this video. Together, we are stronger. Together, we can create a movement that goes far beyond videos and stories. A movement of real transformation of the world in which we live. See you in the next video, with more stories of justice, transformation, and hope. In the meantime, remember, be the best version of yourself even when nobody is watching, for it is there that your true wealth is revealed.